Now that Liko and the others have learned the truth about what happened to Lucius 100 years ago, their next goal is to find Lucius's Entei, and we now have confirmation that that journey will take them to the Johto region. That isn't too surprising considering Horizons is a worldwide series and Entei originates from Johto, but hey, it's still awesome news. We know this because of some brand new information released about Pokemon Horizons episode 77, which airs on December the 13th. In today's video, let's dive into how this episode could be even crazier than finding out Ludlow's a superhero was. First of all, episode 77 is officially titled Ludlow Returns Home, and the episode description is as follows. While visiting Ludlow's hometown, Olivine City, Liko and the others meet the fishing boat rental operator Mamoru, and he's a passionate fan of an old movie star called Kinjiro. Mamoru tells them about his enthusiasm for the vs Sharpedo movie series that Kinjiro starred in. So yeah, we're heading to the Johto region for the first time in Pokemon Horizons. But before our heroes go after Entei, they're stopping by Ludlow's hometown, Olivine City. And before I say anything else, this confirms something really big, man. The airship of the Rising Volt Tacklers was named after Ludlow's hometown. In the English dub, their airship is called the Brave Olivine, named after his home, Olivine City, while in Japanese, the city is Asagi City, hence the airship being the Brave Asagi. Pretty awesome to get that confirmation, dude. Also, real quick, while we're on the topic of Olivine City, this is gonna be the first time in the entire Pokemon Horizons anime that Liko and Roy are visiting a place that Ash Ketchum visited. Can we just take a second to appreciate how wild that is? We're 75 episodes in and it's only now happening? For that reason, although it seems unlikely, this episode could be the closest we've been so far to learning whether Pokemon Horizons takes place in the same world, the same timeline as Ash's anime did. If we see any characters from Ash's Olivine City adventures, like Jasmine or Janina or even Wings Alexander, remember him? That could really seal the deal. If we see any of them, then we could know whether this anime is in the same world as Ash's anime was. Obviously, it's really unlikely for it to actually happen. I don't think we'll see any of those characters, but hey, it's fun to dream, right? Anyway, back to the main video topic. Like I said before, this episode features a guy called Mamoru who's a super fan of an old movie star called Kinjiro, and Kinjiro starred in a movie called vs Sharpedo. Look, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or even a Pokemon professor to know what the twist is here. Obviously, Ludlow, our favourite elderly man with infinite wisdom and a hidden six-pack, is Kinjiro the movie star. Or well, he was Kinjiro the movie star back in the day, back when he was younger. It's almost certain, dude. Let's connect the dots real quick. Ludlow had a superhero alter ego, the Mighty G, so he clearly had the talent, the charisma, the biceps to become a famous actor, you know? It all aligns really well. And hey, remind me again, what's the movie that Kinjiro the famous actor starred in? Vs Sharpedo. And dude, Ludlow literally has a Sharpedo on his team. The Pokemon writers aren't exactly playing hard to get here. Ludlow was probably the famous actor Kinjiro when he was younger, alongside being the superhero Mighty G, and then he retired to become the kind, guidance-giving fisherman that we know and love. I really like this idea. I love how many secrets and past lives Ludlow had in the past. I actually think it's a really great message to kids to ask their grandparents about their lives, because there is a lot we can learn from the elderly, folks. Speaking of all of this, can we talk about how Ludlow's movie vs Sharpedo is clearly a Pokemon parody of Jaws? You know, the movie where the big scary shark terrorized people on their boats? I can practically hear the Jaws theme song already in this episode, and as a big horror movie fan myself, that put a huge smile on my face. And to be honest, the movie being a parody of Jaws makes it even more likely that Ludlow was the actor, and that's because the Brave Asagi airship used to be Ludlow's personal boat before it turned into an airship, so I imagine that Ludlow's boat, the early Brave Asagi, that was probably featured in the vs Sharpedo movie. Sharpedo probably terrorized Ludlow's boat. Now dude, that is an Oscar-worthy backstory. Okay, so realistically, this episode will probably mainly focus on Ludlow's past and the backstory of the Brave Asagi airship. That's really predictable, you know? But what if the episode is actually much more than that? Hear me out, okay? Hear me out. What if the reason we're suddenly getting a Ludlow-focused episode, where he returns home and we dive into his history, what if it's because this could actually be the end of Ludlow's story in Pokemon Horizons? Now don't panic, I'm not saying he's gonna get eaten by a Sharpedo or anything, but what if this episode is the moment where Ludlow finally retires from the Rising Volt Tacklers? Just think about it, okay? Ludlow is by far the least active member of the Rising Volt Tacklers crew these days. He's an old man who mostly stays on the airship while everyone is off on crazy adventures, battling crazy villains. Ludlow always stays behind, he's never really involved in the plot like the other characters are. He by far has the least to do in the crew. And over the course of Horizons, all of his roles and duties and character moments have been reduced. For example, he's no longer really needed to help steer the airship, because the airship got loads of upgrades a few episodes ago, making it easier and better to fly than ever. On top of that, Ludlow is no longer really needed for the Quaxley storyline, because Doc caught Quaxley already, and also Ludlow's guidance and advice and leadership barely really happen anymore either, mainly because Liko and Roy are becoming more mature and capable and confident now. It's like Ludlow is slowly fading into the background, with all of his roles and character moments being reduced over time. And man, that's really not fair to such an awesome character. So people might hate me for saying it, but I think the best and most mature storyline they could do with Ludlow now would be to retire him from the Rising Volt Tacklers crew. Ludlow is returning home in the upcoming episode, he's coming back to his roots of his past life. This would really be the perfect chance for Ludlow to reflect on how he's getting older, and how the journey to Rakua is just going to get more and more fast and dangerous and crazy, and so maybe it's time for him to hand the reins to the younger crew members and call it a day and retire. Almost no one would see that coming, dude. Retiring one of the main characters like that is unprecedented in the Pokemon anime, but I don't know, it just makes a lot of sense to me personally. It would be an insanely emotional farewell, with Liko and Roy thanking him for all his wisdom and guidance, and for helping them get to where they are now, and the other Rising Volt Tacklers who knew him for longer would be heartbroken but understanding of his reasons, and Ludlow could pass the torch to Friede to lead the crew and lead the Bravasagi airship, since Ludlow was always his mentor. That's in their backstory, you know? It would be like a perfect full circle moment, finding out the truth about Ludlow's past and the Bravasagi airship's past, and that ending with Ludlow handing the Bravasagi airship and the future to the younger ones. I don't know, man, I feel like that would give the legend Ludlow such an amazing and significant farewell, you know? Before his character fades into the background any more than he already has. I know it's a crazy idea, but get this. The episode right before Ludlow's episode is all about a former Rising Volt Tacklers member, a guy called Sodayo, and Sodayo left and retired from the crew in the past. I feel like that episode could really lend itself to Ludlow possibly retiring the week after. Like, narratively it could inspire Ludlow to consider retiring, and also outside of the show it could build it up to the audience, you know? So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this upcoming episode in the comments below. Do you think Horizons would ever retire one of the Rising Volt Tacklers? I know it's unlikely, and I would be really sad to lose a Ludlow if it did happen, but I don't know, I feel like it could be a great opportunity for Horizons to become even more mature, to handle even more mature themes. Either way, let's cross our fingers for the return of the Mighty G no matter what. Oh, and while you're here before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe. That seriously helps me out a ton, dude, and it's much easier than surviving a Sharpedo attack. On that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!